Imagine venturing into an unknown world, a mighty journey spanning years and making history.
Lewis and Clark were real, true explorers. They came to a part of America that no white men had explored all the way to the Pacific Ocean and back.
An adventure chronicled for future generations here in Nebraska City. Nestled in trees along the Missouri River is a brick lodge off Highway 2. Inside these doors is a treasure trove of American history.
Welcome to the Missouri River Basin Lewis and Clark Center in Nebraska City. We overlook the Missouri River, which was the trail for Lewis and Clark and their expedition when they came through in 1804.
Two explorers sent by President Thomas Jefferson to find a direct waterway across our continent and to chronicle every discovery they made along the way. That expedition has fascinated Douglas A. Friedley for decades.
You know, I didn't know much about Lewis and Clark history. In fact, I didn't like history when I was a student. But then I read a book by Stephen Ambrose called Undaunted Courage. And I read his account from the journals, and I just got hooked on this idea of exploration and adventure and people doing something that no one had ever done before. And that really hooked me into the story. And the more I learn about it, there's something for almost everyone, all kinds of different interests.
Friedley was part of a committee determined to share the history that took place right here in Nebraska. The committee raised $6.5 million to create the state's official Lewis and Clark Center.
We're educational, we're scientific, we're cultural. So here in our center we have 3 floors of exhibits, interactive exhibits. We talk about the plants and animals and the scientific discoveries that Lewis and Clark discovered. So you can explore through the building. Outside we have 80 acres of property, 2.5 miles of trails. And so you can literally walk in the footsteps of where Lewis and Clark walked 213 years ago.
Visitors can relive those same moments, learning what it was like to be an explorer.
Native Americans had told him about watch out for the bears. And they thought, well, they were used to the little black bears. They said, you know, obviously their bow and arrows no match for our rifles. But then they discovered the American grizzly bear, which was about 3 times the size of a black bear. And these little creatures, big creatures, when you shoot them, they come after you.
History tells us Lewis's dog saved him that day. Visitors can learn about that while they're checking out one of the boats on display.
So here we've got a replica of the white pirogue. There were 3 boats. There was a big keel boat, the white pirogue, and the red pirogue. So all 44 men were on these 3 different boats. And here we have a replica of the pirogue, and we've installed a little video game on this boat. So you move the tiller, and you move the boat upstream. It gives people an idea of how it was to navigate the boat.
Navigating around snags and sandbars is a student favorite. More than 50 classes come to the center every year.
We also have a full-size Indian Earth Lodge, and students really enjoy stepping into that, back into time, understanding how the Native Americans lived 200 years ago.
And an important lesson about our history.
We say that Lewis and Clark came into a great unknown. Not true. They came through the front yards of Native Americans who had lived here for hundreds and thousands of years. So we tell the story in each exhibit of their interactions and also their contributions to the exploration.
Lewis and Clark encountered 57 Native American tribes during their expedition. Here in Otoe County, the Otoe, Missouri. They meticulously recorded notes for the president. They kept logs about every place, plant, and animal. The expedition first spotted buffalo in 1804 near what we now call Sioux City, Iowa. They were fascinated by the prairie dog.
Lewis had the guys go down to the river, get some barrels of water. He says, we've got to try to get one of these little creatures and take him back to the President of the United States. So they poured water down the hole for over a day until the little prairie dog came sputtering out of the hole. They put him in a cage, took him safely all the way back down the Missouri River the next spring, up the Ohio to Monticello. So it got delivered to the President of the United States, alive. alive almost a year later.
All of these stories and historical accounts are on display at the center. But this is also a retreat for groups looking to meet somewhere special.
I really enjoy when people first walk into our building and they're amazed at the size of our facility, the large windows, the wood, the natural feeling. And then they look out through the picture windows and look at the Missouri River. And of course that view changes from season to season and day to day. And just looking at them and observing the wonders of nature, and then thinking about how difficult it was to take these big boats all the way upstream filled with their supplies.
The center brings in reenactors twice a month. The on-site gift shop sells one-of-a-kind pieces to history buffs all across the country. And with so much to touch and try, kids are among the center's biggest fans.
Burrowing owl, rattlesnakes, toads, frogs, spiders, all kinds of creatures. Anybody want to crawl through the prairie dog pen?
Friedley sees firsthand how students connect here to the past that led to our present.
It's fun to watch people react, especially kids, when they come in, put their cell phones and iPads down for a few minutes and explore nature and really look at the world and observe and discover like Lewis and Clark did. Kids walk away hopefully with a better understanding of what it was like for these explorers to come into this native country, and also how they survived those 2.5 years of exploration.
That has always been the goal of the Lewis and Clark Center, to help all gain a deeper sense of appreciation for nature, for adventure, for our history.